For most of human history, money wasn't metal or paper or digital numbers glowing on a screen. It was far stranger and far more revealing, because long before Europe struck its first coins, long before China developed paper money, and long before anyone imagined a global financial system, one of the world's great civilizations built an economy around a seed, a bitter, sacred seed that would one day become chocolate. To us, cacao is a flavor. To the Maya, it was status. It was ritual. It was political power. And eventually, it became currency. Not symbolic wealth. Not barter, but a fully functioning monetary system that moved armies, powered cities, and shaped the politics of an entire region. Welcome to Financial Timeline, where money, power, and history collide. And nothing is ever as simple as it looks. To understand how cacao became money, you first have to understand who the Maya truly were. Not the exoticized jungle tribes of Hollywood. Not the simplified diagrams from school textbooks, but a civilization that stretched across southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, one of the most advanced societies on Earth. During the Classic period, from 250 to 900 CE, the Maya were cities like Tikal, Calakmul, Palenque, Copan urban worlds, with tens of thousands of people, monumental temples, astronomical observatories, and administrative elites who recorded time with mathematical precision rivaling anything in contemporary Europe. And behind the stone temples, behind the rituals, was something people forget: an economy capable of sustaining millions without wheels, draft animals, or metal tools. They did it with intensive terraced agriculture, raised fields, and irrigation canals, forest gardens, long-distance trade networks, organized merchant guilds, and thriving marketplaces that functioned like the economic engines of a modern city. These markets required more than goods. They required trust. They required money. The Maya didn't start with coins. They started with belief. Cacao was already sacred. It appeared in creation myths, royal rituals, diplomatic exchanges, marriage ceremonies, and offerings to the gods. Economists would call this embedded value, something treated as precious long before it becomes a currency. But belief alone isn't enough. A currency needs standardization, and the Maya achieved that, too. Archaeologists have discovered cacao beans stored in carefully counted bundles, not weighed, but numbered. Maya codices and murals show workers being paid in cacao, taxes measured in cacao, marketplace prices listed in cacao, legal fines paid in cacao. This wasn't a ritual token. This was money, and it circulated everywhere. Thanks to colonial accounts preserving older Maya practices, we know actual prices. A rabbit, 10 cacao beans. A turkey hen, 100 beans. A cotton mantle, 20 to 25 beans. A stone tool, 3 to 5 beans. This wasn't barter. This was a regulated, stable medium of exchange. The Maya had already solved the core problem every economy faces. Barter requires coincidence. Money requires consensus. And the Maya had that consensus. Cacao wasn't the only currency. It was the foundation of a sophisticated, layered system. Tier 1. Cacao beans, everyday transactions. Portable, divisible, countable. Tier 2. Cotton mantles, higher value items, stable stores of value used in regional trade. Tier 3. Prestige goods, jade beads, obsidian blades, quetzal feathers, decorated ceramics, used as elite currency for tribute, diplomacy, and political capital. This wasn't improvisation. This was an ecosystem of money. Structured, flexible, and efficient. But like all financial systems, it came with vulnerabilities. Most people don't realize this, but the Maya experienced inflation, supply shocks, counterfeiting, monetary manipulation, and currency scarcity. Counterfeiting was especially common. Chroniclers describe hollowed cacao beans, emptied, filled with dirt or clay, resealed and passed off as real money. Markets developed quality checks because fake beans spread so widely. But there was a bigger issue: monetary instability. Cacao trees grew only in specific climate zones, warm, humid lowlands, especially in Chiapas and Guatemala. Good harvest. The money supply expanded. Prices dropped. Bad harvest. The money supply contracted. Prices soared. A drought could become a liquidity crisis. A fungus could become hyperinflation. Imagine living in an economy where your money can rot. For the Maya, that was normal. Cacao wasn't just a commodity. It was a strategic resource. The oil of the ancient world. City-states fought over cacao regions the way modern nations fight over oil fields. Lithium mines, rare earth deposits, semiconductor supply, chains control, cacao farms, and you controlled the money supply. Losing them could destabilize an entire kingdom. A Maya king planning a military campaign wasn't just thinking about glory. He was thinking about cacao taxes, marketplace, stability, tribute, flows, merchant routes, and financial credibility. Economics drove warfare as much as politics. To keep cacao flowing, the Maya developed long-distance merchant guilds. The Puhuns. These were not simple traders. They were diplomats, negotiators, logisticians, transport specialists, and sometimes spies. They traveled through forests, mountains, and river systems, maintaining economic networks hundreds of miles long. Replace the cacao bundles with shipping containers, and you'd recognize the blueprint of global commerce. The Maya had been running multinational trade operations 1,000 years before globalization. Cacao beans could rot, mold, dry out, or be eaten by insects. A single miscalculation in storage could destroy wealth overnight. And yet, the system worked for centuries. Why? Because perishability prevented hoarding. Cacao circulated constantly, stimulating trade, preventing stagnation, and sustaining economic momentum. In many ways, it behaved more like modern fiat currency than a commodity. The classic Maya world eventually fragmented due to environmental stress, political conflict, and shifting trade networks. But cacao money didn't collapse. It survived. It spread. It evolved. The Aztecs adopted it and formalized it. The Spanish encountered it and taxed it. And even into the colonial period, cacao remained one of Mesoamerica's most important currencies. A plant had become a financial institution. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Every financial system, ancient, modern, or future, rests on the same foundation. Money as trust made visible. The Maya proved this better than almost any civilization. Their economy worked because people believed in cacao. They trusted it, te balu d'Italiano. They built systems around it, and when that trust faltered, so did their world. The parallels to today are unavoidable. Their inflation came from drought. Ours comes from energy shocks and supply chains. Their counterfeiting came from hollowed beans. Ours comes from digital fraud and market manipulation. Their geopolitics centered on cacao farms. Ours revolves around oil, lithium, and semiconductors. Their economic stability depended on climate. Ours, those, doch. Strip away the technology, and the Maya economy becomes a mirror. A reminder that money is not a thing. It's an agreement. And that agreement is fragile. The Maya turned a fruit seed into currency. They built cities with it. They powered trade with it. They fought wars over it, all because millions of people agreed that a cacao bean had value. Money has never been about metal, paper, or code. It's about belief. It's about trust. It's about the shared imagination of a society. And when that imagination breaks, currencies fall, institutions shake, and civilizations crack. History doesn't repeat. But if you don't understand it, it'll crush you all the same. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.